morning, weirdos. Boy, does morning come too early sometimes, or what? My goodness. Some days I feel like I don't want to get out of bed. How about you? Sheesh. I don't know about you, but I need some coffee. Totally. Well, episode 15. Running strong. Noise. Atnoids. The Noid. Anybody remember the Pizza Noid from Domino's Pizza? I remember the Noid. Yeah. Well, here we are once again. Another beautiful day in paradise. And I don't mean that sarcastically. All right, semi-sarcastically. But I really do. It's, paradise is where you find it. Some people find paradise at a craps table in Las Vegas. But I wouldn't exactly say this is your typical paradise, your movie paradise, fantasy paradise. But for me, this is my little paradise. Yeah. My little sanctum sanctorum. My home away from my mind. Yeah. This is my world. Welcome to my world. Ay, Chihuahua. Well, once again, I decided to go Rambo style today and not really have anything planned. That's a good coffee. Yeah. So we'll just kind of play it by ear. Play it by ear. Yeah. I'm telling you, early is too early. It's way too early. So going to a concert in a few days. Yep. Fun on a bun. I can't believe it's happening again. Never went to so many concerts, especially in 1 year. Especially. So, how are you? How you doing? Anybody out there want to chime in and write a comment when you stop by? That'd be awesome. And then I know who to address when I'm talking. Like Sam up there in Ontario. And, I got a comment from Elijah the other day. Two people I know nothing about, but maybe someday I'll find out. So stop by, hang out. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Anybody. Y'all. I know I've got friends and family watching. So if you got something to say, here's where you say it. Write a little comment, a little something. If you do stop by and you think it's neat or interesting or topical or whatever, even if you don't think much of it, give us a comment and please share, subscribe, share. I need more subscribers. More subscribers mean more fun. I'm not making any money off of this stuff. I'm just doing it for my own what do you call it? Gratification. It's just my way of kind of hanging out, getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Yeah. All right, take it easy, Ace. Erases in my book. Shut up. I'm going to be plucking on an old banjo this morning. Sorry for the excess noise, but my microphone is right here on my table. So I tend to get a little background noise. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. We're still enjoying Coastal Sun Banjo, which is a sativa heavy hybrid. Because the last few days, my neck has been on fire. Just on fire. So much that I got to eat an edible to go to sleep. But at the same time, I don't like to. Because like I said before, edibles pack a pretty big wallop. And my body's kind of acclimatized to smoking, so I can gauge how it affects me better. I can't gauge those edibles for shit. I know that I take one, and I better be ready to fucking lay down, and then not get up. If I do go to sleep, I don't want to wake up for, at least 5 or 6 hours, which is my limit anyway. But when I take them edibles, it's just hard to get out of the grogginess. I mean, I can't sleep because my body has just had enough. But I don't really want to be awake either. It's kind of too painful to think about being awake when you're asleep, and it's too hard to think about sleep when you're awake. It's a conundrum. It's a friggin' conundrum. Anyway, I tagged my brother and sister-in-law this morning again, hoping that they'll be up and chime in and say hi. Of course, if somebody actually gets on and watches my show, I might actually pick up the guitar and play something. I might actually read you something that I've written. Um, we might engage in a conversation where we can tell a story, tell each other a story, um, reminisce about a story that we were both involved in. Who knows? Like I'm not, I'm not, putting anything out of the realm of possibility here. Um, so hit me up. And yes, I am a native Southern Californian. So I can talk the talk and walk the walk. Going in. All right, I could just hear one or two of you watching me, sucking your tongues, clucking your tongues at me.
How can he smoke that marijuana?
Same way you can smoke your cigarettes and drink your booze and pop your pills. Because that's the way it goes. Let's see if we got anything on the old schedule here. Let's see. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow we will be listening to a radio show. Radio. So I'm going to pick out an old-time radio LP, maybe a cassette, and we'll see if we can get away with listening to something fancy tomorrow. As I've stated before, I'm having difficulties with my audio video there. So if anybody has any suggestions for an audio video mixer that will accept either HDMI or audio video cables, RCA jacks, I really want to stay away from the HDMI input audio video mixers, because that calls for a whole different kind of camera, and at this point I might just be safer using my older cameras. So I'm going to see if my older cameras will work. If so, then maybe I can set up a couple of old cameras on an audio video switcher. Okay, so if I set it up on an audio video switcher, it's like one of those switchers where you switch back and forth from your VCR to your video game to your DVD player, one of those things. So if I do that, I could switch from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3. The only bummer is it's kind of a glitchy device. When you push the button, you kind of a black and then static glitch before you get to your next channel, which, old school. I'm hip with old school and making things look a little technically out of whack. I'm cool with that. So I think my next step is to just see if I can get 2 cameras running, switching back and forth, and then have it work to the internet browser where YouTube is. If I can get that to work, it only allows me to use 1 camera at a time so far. Now, I don't know if that changes if I attach in 2 USB cameras to the same port. Are they going to be recognized as the same camera? So if I switch back and forth, they're both going to be acknowledged by the browser and by YouTube. I don't know. It's all trial and error at this point. I try to Google answers, and it's kind of like reading stereo instructions. It doesn't really give me enough to go on. It kind of relies on your own technical expertise, which I have none in this digital age here. I'm just flying on a wing and a prayer here. But that's not going to stop me from doing this morning thing. Anybody see my lighter around? Anybody? Anybody see my... Oh, here it is. So there you go. Anyway. What are they? And then it goes da 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 dun dun dun. My mama talked to me, tried to tell me to live. Da 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 dun dun dun. Then it goes. All right. I got my, and then it goes a little slow. Well, there's something I wish we could listen to. Some Cheech and Chong. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but not probable. It's not just that it's a copyright thing, but I don't like to step on any creative toes, you know, professional or not. I've got a lot of recordings of live music from concerts that we've been to. I've got recordings from live open mic nights that we've been to. Some beautiful, beautiful music and acts. And I want to share them with you, but I really don't want to step on anybody's toes, really. You know, I mentioned before there was a couple of girls, a duet, who came to the Frontier Cafe just outside Pioneer Town in Yucca Valley, and they played 3 songs that night, and they were phenomenal. They were just amazing. I keep searching and searching and searching, hoping to find them, but I haven't been able to find them yet. At some point, maybe one of them will tune in and see one of these videos and think, hey, there's that weird crazy guy. And shoot me a message. I would love to get your permission to share some of your work. If I could find you, I would love to put some of your stuff on one of my playlists so that I can share it with others. But so far, yet. Nothing. Oh, pardon me. Sneezing a burp. There's a new one on me. Yeah, coffee. I'm telling you, animal, these Nazis ain't kosher. Yep. Man, sorry for all that. I get a post-nasal drip from eating and drinking. Let's see, an after effect from all the 1980s cocaine indulgences. I'm sure you'll notice if you watch enough videos that I don't always smoke in the morning. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it takes a couple of hours before my body wakes up enough and the pain rears its ugly head. Now, don't get me wrong, the pain never really goes away. I just sometimes it takes a little while to wrap my head around it. Sometimes I wake up and it's there. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to manifest itself, extreme. But, for the most part, it's always with me. Marijuana doesn't really kill the pain so much as it detaches my head from the pain and just allows me to kind of compartmentalize it and push it aside. And that's, for me, that's a better deal, because the pills, they just make me lethargic and make me want to just crawl back into bed. In fact, I did that for 18 months. I would just get up, try to go about my day, and once the pain took over and I had to take pills, I would just wind up I spent so much time in bed flopping around, in between the years of antidepressants and the pain and medication. I missed out on a lot of living. But then the depression did that too. Depression was probably more responsible for being exiled from me by my own life. Because it can do that. It can kind of just remove you from the world. And it did a lot when I was younger, more so after I became an adult, and had to kind of go out and navigate the world anew. Because, when I was a little kid, I was just kind of being, pulled along into whatever next scenario happened. When I became a teenager, I could kind of go out and create my own scenarios. And then at 15, when I decided, you know what, enough's enough, and I kind of went out on my own, and by the graces of friends and family, or friends who became family and their families, I was able to stay in school, stay alive, stay away from bad influences, really. At first, I tried so hard to escape the influences at home that I was going out and acting up and doing, any number of stupid things with friends. But after I left home at 15, I kind of realized that I was responsible for myself. Even though I had friends and their families who were looking after me, I still had to be responsible enough to know right from wrong, and because that was a lesson those were lessons that were really difficult to find at home. But being able to stay in school while I was essentially technically homeless, bouncing around from couch to couch, from friends' floor to wherever, and then at like 19 or 20, I wound up buying a van from Blaine's father. I think I might have even still owed him $50 or something. So I bought this old 65 Ford van, and it was what I knew to do at the time to try to alleviate the pressure that I was putting on others, friends and their families, by just being around all the time and not having anywhere to go, not having anyone to turn to. And so that van for me was the best investment, because if all else failed, I still had a place to sleep. And I never really had to make it my home because I always had a couch to sleep on. Thank you, everyone from my past, Jan and Marge and Shar and Pam and Charlotte and I'm sorry if I forget anyone, but all of those other mothers who took me in and took care of me. Thank you, all of you. Yeah, I never had to actually live full time in that van, which, looking back, I think I probably would have been better off to kind of work that van into a small motorhome type vehicle and then just live permanently in it. I think that would have been more beneficial than most of the couch surfing that I did. And the couch surfing was great because I got invited into a lot of lives and was able to take part in other people's lives and families and learn ways that I never knew, that I was never, able to grasp onto as a young lad. Yeah. I remember Brett and Pam and Troy invited me, and I believe it was James Gurfers, to go whitewater rafting up down the American River up in Northern California. And James Gurfer, I'm sorry, I don't want to do any last names, but James is the only other one still around from that trip. So, buddy, if you're there, how are you? Do any whitewater rafting lately? I haven't done any since then. Anyway, so yeah, with Steve's family, his dad Mike was able to go on a couple of trips to Northern California and all the way to Oregon, Northern California or Central California actually, in the back of a Subaru Brat, and then on the back of Steve's motorcycle going all the way up to Oregon and then back. Those were trips that I never would have been able to do. Sure, we did a lot of traveling when I was a young kid. We went all over the West, as far over as Pine Ridge and Niobrara, Nebraska. We did a lot of traveling when I was young. Got to see the Grand Canyon and all kinds of things. Not so much as an adult. As an adult, I've pretty much stuck to, northern Nevada, Southern California, and out to Arizona. That's pretty much it. Kind of that little L there. But the whole reason I got this van, man, was so that I could take a couple of those long trips with my wife and daughter. Visit family and friends afar, and have some of those adventures, and give her some of those adventures before it's all gone. I gotta warm up this coffee. It's starting to get cold. But yeah, so I got this van, and it's a beautiful Dodge Ram van, 2002 van conversion. So it's got all the seats and amenities all the way through it. It's just beautiful. It needs some work. So I've been desperately seeking out mechanics in my area who can deal with it. I live in Joshua Tree, and it is hard to find reliable mechanics who can track down a problem and fix it. I mean, is it really that difficult? I don't know. Let me warm up my coffee. Whoa. All right, peeps. All right. So last night, I keep searching these streaming channels in hopes of finding some kind of old show that I've been dying to watch or didn't know that I was dying to watch, like Real People. I've been itching to see some more of that. I think it was Roku a few years back who had the first couple seasons of Real People, and I was able to get that and watch all of that. And now on Prime, you can watch like from season 4 or 5 on a couple of seasons of Real People. So that's pretty cool. And then last night I found Northern Exposure. Now it's not necessarily it's not an 80s show. But it's subjective to when the 80s are over and the 90s begin and the 70s are over and the 80s begin. I always kind of bump it a year. I always feel like 1980 the 80s didn't really start until like 81. Everything from the previous decade kind of lingers, like the odor of fish when you cook. It just kind of stays in the air, and that's kind of what the previous decade does to the next. It just kind of lingers for about a year before things really change, and you get, at least that's the way it used to be. Now, things change so much, they squeeze like a decade into a year, a decade of it's like after a year, things are done and we're moving on, eras, go by like people changing their underwear. It's just, remember the COVID era? I mean, it seemed like it was, last decade, and it was like a couple of years ago. Things are just so fast. Change. No wonder people are freaking losing their minds. And it's those phones, those dumb smartphones that do it. They get everybody chasing their tail, jumping down rabbit holes, looking in this direction and that, everywhere but focusing in on themselves and their own situation. That people are always looking for a distraction, to escape what they're going through, and I get it. Going through shit sometimes sucks. But that's what we're here to go through shit, I mean, what do you do? Your, strength of character is shown in how you go through shit. You just, pull up your fucking pants like a big boy and go through shit. Deal with it. Get on with it. I mean, really, suspenders or a belt, invest in something to hold them pants up, man. It's got to be the most ridiculous fad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Northern Exposure. There's a neat show. Episode 1. That is a show, actually, from 1990, the pilot episode, that goes against the grain of everything I was just saying. That show alone, from my point of view, changed television from the 80s to the 90s. Boom, with one episode. If you get a chance, go to Prime and watch the pilot episode of Northern Exposure and tell me if I'm wrong. But that entire episode from beginning to end is so bizarrely unique from anything previously on television. It's like when Sipowicz popped on TV, Dennis Franz, when he came on TV and started doing NYPD Blue. That was another show that changed TV. But the creator of that show, I believe, is the same creator of the show Hill Street Blues, which was another pivotal, sorry, my lips in the morning. Hill Street Blues was another pivotal TV jump. It took things to another level. The camera work alone, following everybody around, really quick changes. That was different and unique, and they kind of took that into the NYPD Blue show. And I'm sure that show is out there somewhere, and I'll have to research it. But yeah, the Northern Exposure, what a neat, novel approach to a show. Very unique idea, and presented in such a new way. It just, everything about it, it's like, wow, this is different. Wow, this is different. Now, if you're watching it today from the view of today, having grown up in the last 20 years or so, you may not get that show. And you may not get that it's so different for the time. It was definitely a TV game changer. Anybody? You're all still sleeping. Anyway, so yeah, driving in your car, pop me on the phone, set me on the chair next to you, and listen to me ramble. And if you get a chance every once in a while, chime in and give me a comment so we've got something else to talk about. I don't mind sitting here talking to myself. I'm going to do it whether you're here or not. Once the cameras go off, I'm still sitting in here rambling, blah, 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 which leads me to think that maybe I'll do a marathon show and see how long I can keep this up. Let me know what you think. If I do a telethon for subscribers, do you think I'll get any extra subscribers? Can I reach 100? Because if I reach 100, I could definitely think about doing a drawing. I can't really get a whole lot of names out of YouTube because people won't allow me to see who they are in my subscriber list. They want to remain incognito. Totally, man, I get it. You don't want people hounding you with spam and ads and gimme, gimme, gimme. Yeah, but if you have left a message in the comment area of any of these videos, then at some point I will see it. I don't always see it live because I'm a scatterbrain. But eventually I'll see it and I'll write your name down and who you are. And then your name is going to go into a hat and get drawn out. And then I'll read your name and go, hey, so-and-so, you just won something. And then what I'd like to do is have a back and forth between any contest winners and kind of curate a personal little gift prize for that individual. I don't want to just send down a random thing and have them go, oh, look at this, and then have it wind up in a yard sale. I would prefer to get them something that is going to wind up on their shelves and spark joy in their lives and memories and make them happy enough to want to keep it. And Fasha, if you're, watching this video at any point and you see this portion, please take a photograph of that coffee mug, pencil holder, ashtray, or whatever it was that I made in ceramics class in the 9th grade, and send me a picture of that if you still have it. The last thing I heard was that you did still have it, and I would just love to have a picture of it. That would be awesome. And also thank you for the use of your yearbooks. There is a plan in the works to make them available on my channel. It's just going to take a little elbow grease, a little shoehorning. Yeah. Anyway. So memories, sparking joy. If I could get something to a contest winner that they could enjoy on a regular basis, even if it's just seeing it on the mantle, that would make me happy, knowing that I've touched someone in such a way. Did you know that you can go to YouTube at Crazy Old Weird Bearded Guy 2738, and on my channel, not only can you watch all of my videos, but you can go to the community tab on my channel and you can play a game. You can play a quiz. You want to take a quiz? Go to my channel, click on any one of my videos, and then after you subscribe, go to the channel and go to the community tab and click on quiz and take a quiz. If anybody takes a quiz and gets all 3 answers correct, then you're a definite winner and a veteran of the past. And there's no Googling, so don't cheat. And I'll know if you cheat. Believe me. Do you believe me? And also, did you know that it is free to join YouTube, the basic YouTube, to watch basic videos just like mine? It's free. It takes a couple of minutes to join YouTube. Once you join YouTube, anytime you watch one of my videos, you can click and you can like it, and you can subscribe, and you can make comments, and you can do all of that stuff. You can't do everything if you're not a member of YouTube, and it's free. It costs nothing to join YouTube and start watching videos. You can watch it without logging in, but once you log in, then you can subscribe, and then I'm going to see who you are, and I can say hi, and I can add your name to the list so that you can play one of these contests. And you may not have to do anything except watch me draw your name out of a hat. And I'll have to get a hat that I can draw names from. A hat. Like a top hat. In the 1970s and early 80s, my father would often go to Hollywood, and he would supplement our income and traveled through up and down Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset. And he would stop into all the little shops and stores and little storefront places, the magic stores and the comedy stores and the gag stores and the sex shops and the bookstores and all the weird little stores along Hollywood Boulevard, and the clubs at Sunset, the Roxy, the Rainbow. So he would go up and take my mother to work on the weekends. And during the week, he was attending UCSD. And then on the weekends, he would drive to Hollywood to drop my mother off for work. And she would pretty much stay in Hollywood for the weekend. Sometimes she'd stay for a week, sharing an apartment with Diane, her friend. And so, like I said, my father would go up and down these, and he would do deals with these guys. And if you've seen previous episodes, you know what I'm talking about. So he would go in and he'd make some deals, and quite often than not, guys would want to pay for their deals with merchandise because they were store owners. So they had a whole store of money in the form of merchandise. So he would bring home things like our Christmas presents. One year were ventriloquist dolls. My brother got a Charlie McCarthy ventriloquist doll, and I got the Lester dummy. But one of the things he brought home in that period was a top hat, one of those magic top hats. And it was the kind that would flatten down to a really thin, so you could jam it in your coat and then pull it out and pop it out, stick it on your head. So that's what I need. I need one of those pop-up, old-timey silk top hats. That would be cool. I haven't seen one of those in forever. Yeah, there was a can't remember what kind of store it was, but it had a lot of masks. And often we would go with him to Hollywood because he couldn't trust us at home, the three of us at home in Temecula, 1979, 1980, 81. He couldn't really trust us because we would literally, we weren't even teenagers yet, and we were gung-ho to party. All right. Robert would go out all night or bring his friends over to party. My sister Brandy and I would stay up all night watching old movies, listening to Dr. Demento and other records, and cooking whatever there was to cook. A lot of times it was cinnamon toast and tea. We would have tea and toast and sit and listen to things on the record player. One time my father he would bring home projectors, movie projectors, 16 millimeter movie projectors from UCSD, from their loan department, audio video department. So along with video cameras and stuff that he would bring home for projects, he would also occasionally check out a machine and a couple of movies and bring them home and we watch them. One night we stayed up late watching Night of the Living Dead, which was a fantastic one to sit and watch in a dark room with that thing clicking away. Another one was some old Betty Boop cartoons. I can't for the life of me remember all of Cab Calloway was in one of these Betty Boop cartoons. And a weird clown and her dog Bimbo. Was that her name of her dog, Bimbo? So yeah, we grew up doing some really weird things, but sometimes they would have to take us with them to Hollywood. So we would spend the night cruising around Hollywood. More than likely, we would get left in the car somewhere. He'd park the car either where my mother worked or outside of her apartment or on Hollywood Boulevard in a parking structure somewhere. Sometimes we'd get to go along with him and go check out some of the shops. But he couldn't have us out late or he would get the stink eye from people and they would call the cops. So he would try to keep us stashed away somewhere. We spent a lot of time down at a laundromat. It was like Hollywood Boulevard and then Sunset, and then the one below that, where it kind of has a 5 Points type road area near where that original International House of Pancakes was, the one that looked like the old school buildings. So it was near that. But he would just fill the trunk full of our laundry, and then he would take us to the laundromat and leave us there to do laundry, right? While he would hoof it up. I think, yeah, we were down where the Troubadour was, I believe. So he would hoof it up to a couple of places and then go up to Sunset and go to the clubs. And then he was a walker, so he would just get out there and boogie, whether he had his thumb out or what have you. But he would hoof it up club to store, customer to customer, divvying out his wares. And it was a miracle that we made it home every night, because sometimes when he was out doing this by himself, he wasn't so lucky and he didn't make it home. And grandma would show up a day or so later, after us kids were at home, in wherever we were at, Temecula or Fallbrook or whatever. And like, oh, your father's been arrested. And then he'd show up a day or so later and pick us up from her house or just come home. But yeah, 70s, 80s, when you're, pushed out onto the fringes of society intentionally by the powers that be, you're not really left with many choices. I mean, they force you into situations where you can't get a real job. You can't take the education that you've earned and use it to support your family. So what do? You're not going to go up and hold up a liquor store. So, but you're also not going to be able to walk in and get a job and then keep it, because at that point, somebody and people don't want people who get checked up on by, the powers that be. He got to alternative means of creative financing through life. Yep. But I remember a lot of nights at that little laundromat. There was this neighborhood. It was right off. I can't remember the damn street, but there were all these streets going in weird angles from where this laundromat was on this weird sharp angled corner, and it had a little parking lot up front, and then it had a little stretch of parking in the back, and it had a front door and a back door, and it was a 24-hour a 24-hour laundromat, which is why he left us there, because there was always someone there. It didn't have any security, but it was 24 hours, so it didn't look suspicious to have a car parked there and people doing laundry. Okay, and we weren't allowed to get out and run around and make ourselves, known to the outside world. We were required to stay within the realm of the laundromat. And if we saw any, cops, which we were trained to be observant, but we were to then get our asses back into the laundromat or into the car. And then, we had certain things that we were supposed to say. Robert was supposed to be the only one who talked, and he wasn't supposed to say much. And usually it was my father walked up to the store, and there, my father walked up to the store to get quarters because the thing is broken, or my father went to get us some food, yada, yada, yada. And he would be gone for hours, and we would be responsible for cleaning that trunk full of laundry. And we were lucky to get that, really, because I remember as a child living with just a huge pile of laundry that followed us. I mean, we would have to move to get away from this huge pile of laundry. We would need a truck or a trailer to haul this huge pile of dirty laundry around. And it's the pile of laundry that I would pull from to find something to wear to go to school. Whether it was a clean pile or a dirty pile or a pile that had commingled. But yeah, we were responsible for, and like I said, thankfully, we had the opportunity on occasion to run into Hollywood or go to a laundromat there in Temecula and do load after load after load, because it would just get out of control. I got a father going to school down in San Diego and a mother working up in Hollywood, weird hours. So she, for whatever reason, they never really had their parenting skills fully turned up. So we often had to kind of parent each other and co-parent each other. That wasn't always ideal. Because we weren't the best or well-kept children in the world. But that pile of laundry that followed us around, oh my goodness. I mean, sometimes I would sleep in Fallbrook. I remember Fallbrook. That was my bed in Fallbrook in 77, was the pile of laundry. I mean, Fallbrook and Temecula, on more than one occasion got called to the main office at school and got the smelly kid lecture. Being the smelly kid in school, people are starting to complain that the odor ruminating in your presence is offending the proboscis of every human within a quarter-mile radius. And I understood it, when you're kind of living off on the fringes of the world, technically homeless most of your life, living in vans and tents and motorhomes and cars and people's houses and yards and stuff. It can be difficult, to say the least, to find a steady way of, taking care of yourself. Clean clothes, a shower, toothbrush, These things were kind of foreign to me growing up. But what an adventure my life was. And I'm sure my siblings will agree that it was one bizarre upbringing, but compared to the boring lives and the Brady Bunch lives that a lot of my friends and a lot of people out there, you know, were raised into, I don't mind looking back. I don't mind during, you know, it was hell during, but there was a lot that went on, and those memories, you know, I wouldn't trade them for anything. You know, would I go back and do it differently? Yes and no. I mean, I would like to be able to go back and experience things differently, the same things, only be able to know what I know now. There are a lot of things that I would like to have changed, be able to change, but the overall experiences, well, they would have to remain in order for me to, you know, that time paradox thing. In order for me to be me, I got to have experienced all of the things that made me me, right? But if I could go back as me and re-experience those things, I would still wind up me, but I would wind up a more experienced me. That's ridiculous. But you know, like to go into a situation where you were bullied, and be able to then go back and re-experience that and unbully the bully, you know, take the wind out of his sails, take the bully down a notch, and maybe help yourself to a better outcome, but also help the bully to achieve a better human existence, I guess, you know, to help them change as well. You know, I don't know. I just look back and think, you know, where did we go wrong to get to where the world is now? You know, in 1970-ish, I guess, we had so much hope and so much we had so much, and we just keep pissing it away. You can tell, we look at the landscape, the skylines, the skies, the waters, everything is changing, but very little of it is changing for the better. And people, very few people, it seems, have been changing for the better. Now, I'm probably wrong, because I try to limit my exposure to the world, because most of what I see scares me to death. You know, and like an ostrich, I just want to bury my head in the sand, you know, and avoid having to look at, you know, reality rear its ugly head. Yeah. So let's see. We got a sky turning blue behind us here. Good old sky. It's not as blue as it used to be. It's not as blue as it was when everybody stayed home and didn't do anything for a few weeks. Was that remarkable? Wasn't that beautiful? When you could look outside and go outside and see such a bright blue, this world could heal itself if we helped, but there are these engines that kind of function to take care of our world, and we keep throwing these wrenches into those wheels, those cogs, those gears of those engines, and screwing everything up. I mean, we're not taking we're not giving back as much as we're taking. I went into my head there because I remember seeing a photo just the other day of from the Lake Elsinore then and now group on Facebook, and they had posted a photograph looking down onto the lake from up on Amy Castle's Road in that area there. And it's looking down onto the lake and foothills of the Ortega Mountains, and it's looking past the old country club that used to be there on the east side of the lake. And the unique thing I find about that shot is not the water or the lack of people or the fact that the country club is all there in one piece and it's looks like brand new, but the edges of the photograph are all bordered by trees on this hillside that now has no trees. It has very few trees on this hillside on the east side of Lake Elsinore, from town to Four Corners on Lake Street. Apparently there used to be trees all covering that hillside there. At what point did they burn and not get replaced? There's a place right there to start. I'm sure if you go into every town, every community, every area, all over the country, all over the world, you can go to a place where at one point in the past there was a fire or clear cutting that never got replaced. And how long is it going to be before we replace the trees in these areas? I mean, we go into places and we tear up all of the trees and all of the dirt and all the animals, and we build these homes, these track homes, right? And then we replace it with these pretty little trees and foliage and stuff. Yeah. And quite often than not, we wind up with less nature in these places than before the homes showed up. But if we just go outside and take a drive or look around, and you can see these barren hillsides everywhere. The Sierra Nevada mountains, which starts down in Mexico, I believe, and goes all the way up into Alaska. And chime in and leave a comment if I'm wrong. But these are mountains and mountain ranges that used to have a whole lot more trees. And when you take away so many trees along mountains, you terraform the area into something different, and then you change the weather pattern. And could we not reverse that by planting more trees and more green stuff and reintroduce beaver into areas where we need more groundwater, because that's what beavers help to do, is they create dams that build up these little lakes, and then where does that water go? Gravity pulls it down. We pull it down into the earth, so we collect this water and pull it down in areas where it should be, to give us back our groundwater. And if we just plant trees and then reintroduce nature, back into nature, could we not then change our weather as well as our landscape? I think we could. I think we need to have a campaign of planting trees, not just go out and, I'm going to buy a Christmas tree this year that I can plant in the ground in our yard. Well, that's nice. And that saves a tree from having to be cut and shipped. That's cool. But at the same time, could we possibly figure out what natural trees grow, what natural shrubs and bushes and stuff grow in our areas, and then replant those in areas that are barren? If we can get these big giant plains to scoop up water and dump them on fires, why couldn't we get them to scoop up water and dump them onto hillsides that have been replanted? Every week they run over and fly a different area and water, because eventually they're gonna take care of themselves. And then at some point they're going to start to take care of us. And we've failed miserably in this world, taking care of our world. It's like when your mother takes care of you. Do you walk up and then slap her and say thank you? You take and then smack, because that's what we've been doing to the planet. We keep taking and smacking, and we're not giving back enough. And we keep overpopulating. We don't need any more people. We need the people that we have to be better educated, to not have so many offspring, and have more educated offspring. I mean, we can't just have kids for kids' sake. Kids are great, but we're going to bring them into a world that sucks, and then teach them how to be sucky people. I don't know. That just doesn't seem right. I digress. Yeah. Anyways, so I've decided not to limit myself on time, and I'm just going to go until I feel like, I'm bored. I'm going to move on to something else. And I guess I've had a lot to say lately. Not that any of it means anything. I mean, blah, 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 right? But that's cool. That's cool. At some point, I'll figure it out. Let's see. What was I thinking about? So I still haven't watched Ned Kelly with Mick Jagger. And I don't know if I want to do a twofer and watch Free Jack and Ned Kelly, or if I want to do a threefer and find another Mick Jagger movie to watch. Any suggestions for a Mick Jagger movie to watch? I would prefer to watch one where he's forced to act rather than a concert movie. I enjoy their music immensely. So much so that I picked up another Rolling Stones shirt because I thought I didn't have one, only to remember that I do have one. I just don't remember where the hell it went. So if anybody knows where my 1978 Rolling Stones shirt went, I'd really appreciate it, because I knew where I put it, right? Just didn't know. So, and I don't know what other movie to watch. Free Jack, is that another? Could that be another Aussie movie? I'll have to find out. I don't like to know too much before I watch the movie, but after I watch the movie, I like to learn a little bit about it, a little behind the scenes, find out more about the actors. And I know that Emilio Estevez is in Free Jack, as well as the girl from the lady from Lethal Weapon 2, the Mel Gibson love interest. I can't remember her name. Sorry, I don't remember your name. It'll come to me eventually. But yeah, I remember seeing Free Jack back in the 80s, and then, maybe 20 years ago. 80s, 90s? I think it was the 90s, right? Free Jack. So, but I haven't seen it in like maybe 10 or 15, 20 years. And I don't ever remember seeing Ned Kelly. And I can't think of another Mick Jagger movie, although I know they're out there. Yeah, I know Ned Kelly. He's pretty young in that one. So that should be interesting. I'm going to have a little something nosh here. Thanks for, hanging out with me this morning. I get lonely. Yeah. Life of an insomniac here. Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the things y'all do in the mornings? When you get up, you comb your hair, have a piece of toast, write in your diary. When do you get up? And then when do you go to work, and what do you do? And then walk out the door? You have to get up real early like me in the morning. Like say I got to be at work at 8 o'clock, and it takes me, an hour or less to get there. So I got to leave the house at 7. I got to be up at 5. I really do. I got to get up. I got to get my act together. Then I would have to bring my pain level down. Oh, Lord, that was always a challenge to deal with. Toward the end there, working mornings full time. That became a real challenge to try to balance out pain management and the ability to function. Right, that's always a challenge. I managed. It got old. I got tired of feeling like I was giving my employer the short end of the stick when I wasn't able to function 80 to 100% every day. In some places you don't want to function anything over 80% ever, because you're not going to get the recognition. It's not going to get you any extra pay. It's just going to make you look bad if you drop down below that again. If you're always at 100%, you got to stay at 100%. So my 100% was always 80%. Because all you did at 100% was outshine the people around you and then make them pissed off because now they have to perform at 100% all the time. So as a supervisor or manager or something, I never required people to go out of their way to function at 100%, because I get it. I understood, so that on occasion, when needed and having to meet a deadline and have production meet a certain number, then you can go after people for that extra 20% and get it, because you don't require it all the time. And they know they can bump it up and give you that with little effort. So I always liked to keep everybody working with me at an even 80, 75, 80%. And then we all knew that when the time comes, we've got that extra percentage that we can kick it up, and not put ourselves out. So that's where I was always at working. I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Now I just go scrub toilets and floors and stuff. And that's cool because it requires me. I can give 100% and only have to physically put out about 40%. That works well for me because I can save that extra oomph for doing this kind of stuff, for doing my own thing. Because unless you're doing something that you really, 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 really love, people don't pay you to go out and have fun. People don't pay you to enjoy yourself. People pay you to perform a task, and unless you're getting paid to do exactly what you want to do, you don't want to do it. I don't want to do shit. Just, making beds and scrubbing toilets and floors and stuff. I don't want to do that either. But I would much rather do that and have all the extra time for me. I'm better for my family when I'm not dealing with a lot of big jobs and big worry and big numbers and a lot of customers and stuff. I'm not a family guy when I'm doing that. I'm a work guy. I'm a business guy. And I did that already. Like I said, I did the manager thing. I did the supervisor thing. I did the boss thing. I did the employee thing. Now I just want to do the me thing, the family thing, the us thing. And this kind of laid back lifestyle I'm never going to be driving a Mercedes. I'm never going to have a big giant house. And a huge bankroll. But I don't think I was put on this planet for that. I have no idea why I was left here on this planet. I'm hoping that they come and get me and explain it to me. And they better have a good explanation for leaving me here. Because, whoops, ain't cutting it. Or am I going to get deprogrammed? And then when I'm deprogrammed, I'll know exactly everything and why. I guess that could be possible. Right? Huh. If anybody watches this, is my chewing loud? Because I know this is a pretty heavy powered microphone, but I don't know what it's capable of picking up. Well, my lava lamp still looks weird, like some kind of intestinal mushroom, just kind of frozen in one spot. It takes a while for those things to heat up, I noticed that. It takes about 2 hours for that thing to really start to move, and about 3 hours for it to really just start bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. Yeah. But I got that lava lamp there because that corner looked a little dark, you know. I'm trying to go with kind of natural lighting in here. Natural lighting meaning the couple of lights that I have are, you know, what I would normally have. I don't want to turn on a bunch of bright lights in here unless I need to. Probably for a Friday night show. Yeah. But what a weird... oh, can you hear my stomach go gurgle? Anybody? Anybody? Ah. Yeah. So anyway, I like to just kind of say what's on my mind in the mornings, because that's when I feel the most me, you know. So, blah, 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 blah. Kind of feel like that, an adult on Charlie Brown, right? Wah, 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 wah. Totally. Yeah, for sure. Oh, my neck. Man, it has been bad the last couple of days. Yeah, really, really bad. Let you know you're alive. Let you know alive. Well, it's your turn. Okay, you talk now. Okay. Oh, wait. I'll give it some time for the people who are watching the show in the playlist. And you can leave a comment. So now is your chance to leave a comment and tell me something. Go ahead. It's your turn. Go. And now. Really? That's amazing. That's for anybody who just left a comment. Yes. Okay. I know. Just like alcohol and tobacco, marijuana is poison for your body. So, kiddies, don't smoke. Won't smoke anything. I mean, if smoke was good, just why are people running out of burning buildings, right? Smoke bad. Like my grandfather, do as I say, not as I do. Well, there ain't no hope for me, but there is for you. There's a place in everyone's life where you reach a peak, and once you go over, there's no going back. There's just no going back. I'm afraid that I've reached my peak, and I'm tumbling down the other side. And the climb up is a whole lot longer than the climb down. If the climb down is you falling, right? It takes you a whole lot of time sometimes to get to the beginning of the end. And sometimes the end comes quick, and sometimes the beginning of the end comes quick, but the end seems to take forever. I'm sure somebody out there will understand what I mean at some point. But you know, what goes up must come down. That which is born must eventually die. It's just the way it is. What are you going to do? You can't change reality, right? You can augment your reality, but you know, wood is wood. You know, it don't matter if it's petrified or burnt or a friggin' toothpick. It's wood. It's gonna, you know, reality, man. Wow, what a concept. So yeah, these videos are meant for me, I guess, so much so until they're done. Once this video is done, it's in the can. It belongs to everyone else. Its usefulness to me has been reached. This is my therapy. This is my routine. This is what gets me rolling. Sometimes I just roll right back into bed if I got nothing going on. Got to run into town today. Tried to go into town yesterday. Didn't make it. Wound up crawling back into bed. And spent most of the day there. Some days that's all I can manage, and some days that's a lot. But that's cool. You know, I can't really, I catch myself complaining, you know, and I feel guilty. I mean, because there's no sense in me complaining. I mean, there are other people going through a whole lot worse things to deal with than my miserable little sucky, you know, problems and issues. So I try not to anymore. Anyway, I try not to dwell on things that I can't control. You know, and I try not to beat myself up over my own issues. But this way I can, you know, get shit out. The best way to deal with anything is just to get it out, talk about it, deal with it. You know, not that I don't believe that in the past 15 videos I've been sitting here ranting and raving about shit that's bugging me. But I don't, you know, right now I don't have anything that bugs me. I used to have a lot of things that bug me. You know, I used to have to look at these things every day and think, gosh, with this, I wish this would change. But, you know, and things aren't perfect, and they're never going to be perfect, and they're not always perfect. But at this point, at this time, at this stage, this juncture, you know, things are good. You know, and sometimes good just means things ain't bad, and that's pretty good right there. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I got this an hour ago. I said I've got this this van. One of the things I need to do is yank out the rear CD player, see if I can drop in an 8-track. If not, I need to build a center floor console with an 8-track built into it. And then I'm thinking maybe I'll just build a center console with speakers built into it, so that all I need to do is run 12 volt into that, and then it becomes its own unit. I think that might be a good way to go, rather than try to wire the 8-track player into everything else. Yeah. So now I need to design some kind of center console that houses an 8-track player, maybe a compartment, speakers, and then a perch basket type thing for the dog or two to get up into. It can't be anything really, really bulky, because I like the ability to go from the front seat and turn into the back and go into the back. So it can't be anything real bulky, which means that maybe it's not such a great idea. Because I like that big center spot between the chairs in the front. And I wouldn't want anything permanently mounted, which then leaves movement, which is kind of a bummer. You want everything to be stationary, especially in an accident or when you got to slam on the brakes or turn heavy. So maybe that's not such a wise idea. Now, I had originally thought about putting it above, near the visors and stuff, but between the visors and the light controls and all of the other stuff that's up here and the really, really nice wood and fabric that's up there, I really can't see adding anything to that, you know. So, you know, I've been kind of stumped as to where to put my 8-track player in the van. Now, if it had a cabinet in the back, like behind the driver's seat, like in some of the older van conversions where you've got a little TV and sink and stuff, refrigerator. So if it had one of those, well, and I could just kind of mount it in one of those spots there. But there's no under the dash areas. There's nothing on the center console. Nothing in the dog house, the thing that covers the engine. Nothing up near there's no areas near the visor. There's no real spot to put an 8-track, you know, to add an 8-track. I could swap it out for the stereo that's in there now. But that's a little too old school. I could put it in the back, you know, along the side with the other stereo is for the back. But then I can't control it from the driver's seat. That's kind of a bummer. So what do? Where do you put an 8-track player in a 2002 Dodge Ram van? Anybody? You know, and it's the size of an average stereo, you know. What do you do with it? Eh? I don't know. I don't know what the frig to do. Yeah. So I haven't been able to do that yet. I've been waiting for the weather to clear up so that I can put stickers on my rear window. I've been collecting stickers, and I'm ready to do my windows now. But when you're putting vintage stickers on a van, you don't want it to then rain. And also I need to clean my windows really good because they sit and they get that, what is it? Oxidation. It's not oxidation. It's kind of like calcification or something, right? So I need to vinegar my windows really, really good. And then once I get all of the stickers on there, I need to then spray a sealer over the top of that to keep them from being destroyed from the weather, right? And then hopefully that won't peel and crack and chip and start to look nasty. So it's kind of my first try at sealing up stickers. I may cut off the corner of one of the stickers that has a little bit of sticker around the edge and take some of that and put that on there and spray it and seal it and leave it for a couple of days, week, and see what it does, and then see if I can spray over it again without it peeling and looking weird, going milky. Because I don't want to put my old KMET stickers on the window and then have them only last for 6 months. I want them to last at least a couple of years. I figure I'm going to be driving this thing for at least a couple of years. And traveling, if I can get a mechanic that is worth his salt. I really wish I could just drive to Indiana and turn my van over to Jim and family and let them just take care of it for me. That would be the ultimate, drive back and drop the van off and pitch a tent somewhere, get a little vacation time in, and then have a van that I could actually drive in, because I really would be, so awesomely in love with the idea of taking the family out and just driving, drive to a ghost town, drive to a lake, drive to the dam. Yep. Is my head shining? Forget about it. Forget about it. Anyways, what a lee. So yeah, if you get a chance, look up some Mick Jagger movies and shoot me a message. If you can think of a third one, Ned Kelly and Free Jack, and then maybe one after Free Jack, or one in between the two. But let's come up with a threefer on the Mick Jaggers, and then Thursday we'll talk about whatever we watched, or at least I know I will, because I'm always talking. And then tomorrow we're going to listen to some old time radio, and I'm not sure what yet. I've got some X-1, some Dimension X, Escape, Suspense, Mercury Theater on there. I mean, if there's a lot that we can probably get away with listening to. I don't want to do anything too fancy or too well known because I'm going to get hit with copyright stuff and then my sound's going to go blank. So I don't want to go there. I do just want to bring you some stuff that people are really unfamiliar with. And then not only can we enjoy it, but others can enjoy it. And we can keep it around for a while. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe we'll do some sci-fi tomorrow. little X-1 Dimension X. I've got something in mind, and it was something that my father brought home from Tower Records, back in the early 1980s, probably 1980. And it's a great Dimension X story on one side, and then I believe the other side is Escape. And that's a really good double. There's my aura back, my fuzzy aura on my head. Totally. Yo quiero chalupa. Yeah. So anyway, it's free to join YouTube, free to subscribe. You don't pay anything to subscribe to me. You don't pay anything to YouTube unless you want to get, higher up in their echelon and not have to watch commercials and that kind of stuff. But I don't even have commercials on my channel as of yet. At some point, I probably will. If I get enough original content and enough subscribers, yeah, I may actually go do the money thing. But believe you me, it's not a lot of money, and you got to really have a lot of people watching a lot of your crap in order to earn any considerable amount. And it probably wouldn't be worth it much to me at this point, or really any point in the near future, to invest in this show. Other than, maybe give some things away. And, I'm going to give things away because I'm going to assume that I'm probably just giving them away to friends and family anyway. And if that means somebody new, well, then you're a new friend. So there you go. So, and I do have some prize and gift ideas. I was just over at storage looking at a box of things, and I'll have to bring that by the next time I'm over there and bring it back here so I can go through and kind of start creating little gift packs of things. And let me know if you enjoy the old time radio shows. Let me know if you enjoy, the old movies and TVs, and what kind of music you like to listen to. What was hanging on your wall when you were a teenager? What was in your room? What was in that shoebox under the bed? Tell me about your past. I'm going to tell you about mine, so you got to show me yours. Show me your past, people. Yeah, a lot of the stuff in this room here were things that I didn't necessarily have as a kid, and probably wanted as a kid. Of course, there are a lot of records in this room that I had the same records, not the exact same records, but I had copies of those when I was a youngster. So, there's a lot of records in here that I listened to as a kid, and I've had to. Much of it didn't come to me in the collection after my father passed, so I had to go out and re-examine the past and remember the different records that were in our collection. And I've done an okay job putting the collection back together. Of course, as you can see, and then over here you can't see, but there's more records everywhere. And it's kind of just blown itself way out. I've got stuff as far back as the 20s and 30s in this collection here, all the way up to the present. lacking, of course, that period in time where LPs weren't as important as they are again. Um, so, yeah. So what did you guys have in your room as a teenager or in your household? What items, what knickknacks, did you guys have glass grapes on your living room table? One of those weird funny ashtrays. Did you guys have one of those big abalone shells that your mother used to burn incense or sage in? Yeah. What kind of things did you guys, what do you have lying around now that is still from that period, or things that you've purchased this century because you had one last century in the 80s? So yeah, tell me about some of the things that you enjoy. Some of those, maybe some of those things today that help bridge the gap between today and yesterday. All right. Like most of the stuff in this room, especially the stereo. That stereo helps me bridge the gap between yesterday and today. Because I can, like I said, this collection has stuff from yesterday and today. The stereo itself is a collection of yesterday and today. From the realistic reel-to-reels down here, to the 8-track up there, and the new turntable and stereo receiver in between. There we go. There's the reel-to-reels there. Yeah. So what do you guys have now? What does your stereo look like now? Is it one of those Bluetooth things? Is it like a mono speaker that stands alone and you just scroll through stuff on your phone? Because I can't do those. I mean, this stereo has Bluetooth, and when I find something new, I'll pop it on there through the phone. But I can't do that a lot because you get notifications and stuff through your phone and they come blasting through your speakers and shit. So I'm not one for that. Of course, I enjoy watching stuff on the television, which at this point doesn't link to my stereo. But I enjoy watching stuff on the television because of the size of the screen. So if you're watching me now or at any time, I think my show is probably better on a full screen television. Just because I try to keep a lot in the background to make it interesting. And the bigger the picture, the more you can see, the more you can get involved with. And you can ask me, hey, what about that? Who's that in the picture there? And we can get into a one-on-one about whatever's going on, right? Right. So let's see. It is January 9th, 2024, and it's just about getting close here to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And while I won't always take it to a full 2 hours, this is the second day in a row that we're going to 2 hours. And if you can take me rambling, I'm a rambling man, and I can ramble like the best of them. If you want to ramble with me, shoot me a message. If you want to call me anytime, day or night, you can find you can find me on Facebook. If you know me, you know who I am and you know where I can be found. So find me, shoot me an instant message, and we can do a one-on-one, either chatting or doing a video chat. I love to video chat. I can video chat from this arena here and have more of a meaningful experience between the two of us or more of us. We can do a group video chat, which I've done before with my brother Robert and some others, and it's been quite fun. At the same time, if I'm notified early enough, I can set this up so that I can record our video chat together and actually have it in the playback list on YouTube. And you can actually become part of the channel and become, a full-fledged weirdo. And that would be cool, because there's a lot of weirdos out there, and I know that I would love to find out more about you. Because you're going to find out a whole lot more about me in the episodes to come. Pardon me while I mitigate some pain here. And yeah, kill a few brain cells. And yeah, I know, addiction, whatever. I don't really, of course, coming from someone who's smoked marijuana since the age of 15 and has experienced quite a few other drugs and, like social lubricant, alcohol. I don't really go into the notion or the idea or the philosophy of, and don't shoot me just because I have my own opinion, but I don't go in for the idea of addiction and things being like alcoholism being a disease, because everything begins as a choice, right? And everything's always changed by choice, and you either choose to be affected and let something affect you, or you choose not to. And yes, it is very difficult to deal with what is considered to be addiction and disease. But I've seen disease, and while these things can cause addiction and disease, it's all a matter of choice. You can choose to let these things take over your life, or you can choose to just step back and say, you know what, I'm done with it. This is not for me. And I've gone through many changes in my life. And yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. So I want to ask all of you to have a awesome day. Take care of each other. Only you have the power to change your world. So get up and change it. I'm doing my part to change the world by sharing my world with you and hoping that you'll share your world with me. So on that note, I am going to sign off for the day and shut down the old Crazy Guy studio here. And please stop in anytime and say hello, because I would enjoy the back and forth. But that sun shining through. Okay, y'all. Have a great day.